Okay, hey guys, so this will be my first video with voice commentary, and I thought I would try this out because, mainly because of two reasons. Number one being that I haven't uploaded anything that, for quite a while now on my channel, and I've just created two contraptions recently which I thought would be perfect for the channel. And the second reason is because I just thought I wanted to try voice commentary out. I mean, I haven't done it in any videos on my current channel, and I believe that showing contraptions and explaining how they works a lot better with voice commentary than it does with just putting annotations or, I don't know, putting in video messages, not annotations, but, just edited in. So I think this will be a lot better. If it doesn't work, hey, I tried. If it does work, it may become a permanent feature, who knows. So here are the two contraptions right here. So the first one is basically the station itself, and the second one is the train. Yes, it's got a huge thruster. I might want to cover that up because that looks completely stupid. So there you go. And so yeah, the first contraption is the... Wait for it, there you go. Okay, so the first contraption is these payment gates. Now, it's a very basic wire system, but it's looking more at the whole system in itself than just the payment gates, because obviously you can see here I'm in a version of Dark RP, and I think this would be quite a good roleplay idea for larger maps on RP, so you could charge people to use your train system. And I thought, why not? It's quite an interesting idea. If you make the trains and they're automated, then hell, it's free money on the server, so why not? So the ticket gates itself is just the contraption, but the whole idea could become a really interesting concept. So you've got two payment gates. You've got the input and the output. Well, if you're talking about people here for some reason. So at the front, you can see it's a basic payment gate. You just put the money in there. It then opens the gate. That's as simple as that. On the front you can see the ticket price, which is adjustable, which is very easily adjustable. There's a money detector around the back here. I've made it invisible so it's less obvious that where the money detector is, so people don't know how easily it is to cheat the system. So anyway, and at the back here you can see this is where people collect their money. Oh, there's some free money. £10, $10. Wow. Anyway, so let me put some money in. So if we say drop money 10, just grav gun it and place it in the box. It will drop down. The gates open. Once I walk through the gates close, and the payment door has swung back up into its fixed position. Now, if I want to collect the money, as you can see, just open the door. The money's at the back there. So it's not very easy to collect it, but it's very easy to edit it to make it working better. Bad grammar there. Anyway, so furthermore, there is also the output one. You just press the button, door closes behind you. With no clip off and no prop surfing, this would be difficult to get through because you can't. Oh. Okay, we'll just have to have some sort of security guard just watching the gates, make sure no one does that. Don't tell anybody, it's easy to cheat. But anyway, so that's the idea. It's more the concept, it's not how it's been implemented, it's just the idea behind people paying, which I really wanted to emphasize here. So this is one idea, and it's a very basic wire concept. Now what I wanted to show, and it's in some way related to one of my other videos called Gary's Mod Automatic Train, if you've seen that one, where I show my automated train concept where it stops at a station, after a certain amount of time its doors close again and it leaves the station. So what I have done here is to implement a system so people who are interested in driving the train, they don't want an automated train, they want to drive the train themselves, now they can, but it makes it a lot easier for them to drive a train. And I don't know, it seems like an interesting concept. So they sit down and you see there's two screens, well, main screens. You've got the target speed, which you control with W and S. You've got the current speed, which is what the train is currently driving at, the speed of the train. And forward, back, and ID are more technical things, and they're not entirely important, so that's smaller screens. And I'll get into the top two lights indicators in a second. So if we want to leave the station, so we've got all our passengers, we just press W once. Well, that was Q, but oh well. So I've turned the target speed by pressing W once. I've turned the target speed to 10, and the train is sticking at around 10. And obviously if we want to go back down to 0, the train will try and attempt to slow down to 0. Although it's not 2, there you go. So that's it slowing down. So it's very easy. So all the train driver has to do is press W and S, and that's it. Obviously, you can say, oh, well, there are a lot of other trains that do that. All you have to do is press W and S and you control a thruster. But I believe this system makes it a whole lot easier, and that's primarily because you are controlling the speed the train goes at, and the train, you know, does the rest. So if you go too fast, you slow down. If you go too slow, it speeds up. And this is all automatic. So it means that at certain points along the track, you just press the buttons, and the train will do the rest of the work for you. So it makes it incredibly easy to drive the train. So anyway, going to the technical bits, you can see there's forward back. Now, what forward back is there for is it's based on the idea of whether the train is moving forward or moving back. Yes, it's that simple. So what we have on the right here is a very odd-looking cube, which seems to float and has 2 ropes hanging out of it, but it's more complex than that. The idea behind it is it's got a ranger on the front, if you see it there, and this is effectively a device using the ideas of momentum, which I'm amazed Gary's mod, was able to do properly. So if the train is moving forwards, you are able to detect this as a plus speed. If the train is moving backwards, the train is able to detect it's moving backwards, so it's a negative speed. So what this means is that for the system, I can't remember exactly why, but the system had an issue where it couldn't detect the difference between forward and backwards. So if you pressed, for example, target speed of -10, it would continue going forwards because it wouldn't understand what it's doing. But in this case, because of the special device, you can see now we're moving backwards. The range has gone under a certain calibrated length, which means that the train is now moving backwards, so it understands forwards and backwards, so that makes the train a lot more intelligent. And that's only a few chips. I mean, the wire chips themselves, there's probably only about 4 or 5 actually controlling the forward and back, and it's an incredibly simple system. It's a very easy system to calibrate as well, so you can actually calibrate it to be more positive forward and more positive back. And you've also got brake, which you hold at space, and that slows the train down. So in this case, if we want to stop here, there you go. So that was a mixture between me changing the target speed and space. So anyway, that's the basic concept behind this one. And the top 2 lights are what is known as like a on-off indicator. So if I left click with the mouse, you can see I have turned it to a green light, and if you press right mouse, you turn it back to a red light. What this is doing is it's controlling the doors. So if I press green, so if I press left, you get the green, and this has meant that the doors are now unlocked. Now, there's 2 security measures to this system, safety measures really more like. When you get out of the seat, the door automatically locks, and the door is no longer able to open when someone presses the button. But if I was, for example, another situation would be I accidentally leave the doors open, I'm about to leave the station, and the doors are still unlocked. So what they will do is as soon as I press 10, the doors automatically lock. So it's quite a safe system. I mean, the doors won't be open while the train is moving. So anyway, that's basically the system I wanted to show. So if I have a look closer at the wire system behind it, I won't go into the specifics because I've got a sort of odd amnesia when it comes to wire. I build these systems and I understand how they work, but I don't remember how they work after a while. So I'd have to go through this entire system, and it may take probably 20 minutes to search through the entire system and work out what everything does, and making the wires invisible to make them look neater isn't the best idea, but that's what I do anyway. So if we have a general overview, obviously I've talked about this device, which is the little rocker. So the basic idea is when you go forwards, this moves backwards, and forward back goes to 17. In this case, we just take this as positive. When it's moving backwards, the rocker moves forwards, and the train knows it's going in a negative velocity direction. And this is used to calibrate. So if I wanted to calibrate positive 14 as the actual 0, I can 0 it using this button. So we've now calibrated this as 0. So when I let this go, and it goes back to its original position, you see this is negative 14. I can just calibrate it again like this, and there you go. So it's very easy to calibrate the system. So when you duplicate it and you paste it again, even if the duplication is messed up this system, you are able to easily calibrate and fix it, which is probably like a main thing I wanted to do here. You've got the entire wire system. Now, before you say, oh, there's way too many chips here, I don't understand, I actually personally find working with simple logic gates much more enjoyable and rewarding than I do working with expression. I mean, if you probably use expression, this would be incredibly simple. You could do it just with one chip, one line of, not one line, probably a few lines of code, and you're done. But I prefer working with, you know, with wire chips. It's just a lot more enjoyable. So here you've got your overall control system. You can see in the corner here you've got your door controls. These would be the controls for each of the hydraulics on each door. And you've got your sound system, because obviously the train would never make in this case it's a tractor sound, but I thought this sounded quite cool with it's like a weird diesel noise. I thought that sounded great. So if this wasn't, you know, if this wasn't wire, it wouldn't sound like this, but because it's wire and I've got the possibility of, you know, giving it like a train sound, that was perfect. It sounded great. And the pitch is controlled using divide chips, so you just use the speedo divided by a certain value, and the speedo, as the speedo increases, this value gets less and less, it gets greater and greater. There's simple maths going wrong here. So it gets greater and greater, and the pitch of the tractor loop gets higher and higher, so it sounds like it's accelerating. So it's quite a good system. So that's the basic overall concept of it. And obviously here you store control, and it's fairly robust. I mean, it's nice to drive. The issue kind of is its center of gravity is quite high, which makes it when it gets around turns, if you're going too fast, it can flip over quite easily. But obviously you've just got to work it out, and hopefully you don't get that wrong. But anyway, so I thought this was quite a good concept. It's nice to drive. And anyway, this is just the the design I used for when I was building it. Obviously, if you were doing this in a final implementation, you probably wouldn't have the wire chips visible, or you would probably have a different color scheme. But I can show you one simple final implementation which I've decided to make, and it's one which is furnished effectively. So if I go to Advanced Duplicator, way too many files. Okay, so if we go here. There we go. So if we paste this one, I mean, I won't release this one because obviously you know exactly what it does, but it does still drive even with this additional weight. But anyway, so if we have a look, you can see obviously it's furnished. I've given them weird textures just to emphasize it, really. All the chips are gone because they're colored in, so it looks a lot cleaner, and I've made this like a hazard material, which just ensures that people don't touch it, because it's kind of an important part of the train. So anyway, you've got a furnished train, all of the seats obviously rideable. I really hate that glitch with Gary's mod where you just get pushed out the train, and that's due to the height of the train. But it's just incredibly annoying. So yeah, all of the seats are rideable, so you could have, I mean, in this case I've got, well, that was odd. Anyway, I've got a 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 22 seats available. And so you know, you could have a lot of people. I mean, I don't think you would want the entire server, or half or a third of the server riding the same train. But this is just a concept to show you what you could do with this space. So I hope this gives you ideas. And obviously, weird thruster. You shouldn't be on the train really, and you would expect a lot more speed from that thruster. But anyway, so this is just a concept. Obviously, you know, after you're done, you get out the train, go out the doors, leave the station, and there you go. So that's just a concept I've come up with, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if people enjoy the voice commentary that I've made, then I'll continue to make them. And do expect videos every now and then. I mean, I'll try when I can, but trust me, I do have a lot more to show. One example would be like a Takeshi's Castle challenge, something similar to that, which I will be showing you eventually. But those things will come eventually, and hopefully you can be patient with me while I get through, you know, studies, and once I get free time I will start to produce more videos. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you later.